Hello, friends. Welcome back. Tiffany. For anyone new here, I just want to say hello and welcome. If you find any of my content intriguing, or if you're curious, or if you just simply are ready to heal, you're sick of the shit, I encourage you to subscribe and stick around. All of us are different, but maybe there's something in one of the videos somewhere that is meant for you that can help you find your way. And I set full intentions now for this particular video to find exactly who it is meant to find when it is meant to find you. Um, Timing is key. So today I want to share with you my Kundalini awakening story. And part of the reason why I think is because, for one, I've never spoke to anybody about this. This is something that I've never shared with anyone. I think partially because people, especially the ones in my life, um, don't particularly believe in all of this. A lot of them are very much so in the world right now. So it's kind of like, why would I waste my breath? I love them to death, but they will find their way. I promise that. For two, because I've done um, a lot of research and watched a lot of videos on YouTube, especially around spontaneous Kundalini awakening and Kundalini awakening. And I have yet to find anybody that had an experience quite like mine. And I don't mean as in it was something so like especially different. I mean, like, I had no clue what was going on with me for years. So I was in a very scary, deep, dark place for a lot of years before it finally, the pieces of the puzzle started coming together, and before I started listening to spirit more openly and understanding the signs and synchronicities that I was receiving. So I want to preface, however you want to say it, doesn't matter to me. Um, I apologize now. This is probably going to be a little bit longer of a video, um, for one. And for two, I'm going to do my best to not get too emotional. Um, this was a very dark period of life for me. And um, there's a lot of things that I had to heal from and through because of it, um, and understand myself more deeply. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, my first experience with Kundalini awakening, I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening the first round. And I say first, it was my first experience with that, with the unknown part aspect of it. So, just a bit of background. Growing up, I was raised Christian. My father was a Sunday school teacher. Um, when my brother and I were little, he read a lot of like Bible stories and stuff to us going to sleep. I love my dad to death, God rest his soul, and I know he's here with us right now. I can literally feel him. But anyway, he raised us knowing what he knew, and he knew the Bible. So he had a tendency to very much so be a Bible thumper at times. God love him. So that was a lot of my growing up, was that religious background. Now, it was definitely that religious background, but also like seeing your parents preach at you, yet the things they were preaching, they were also doing. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like a contradictory. It could be confusing, but I always knew that there was a God. I always knew that, like, it was just a very deep inner knowing in my soul, in my core. I knew, I just knew that there is something so wonderful that made all of us and all of this and all of the universe. And I know in my core that whatever that thing is has nothing but the most unconditional love for us. That there is no judgment. There is, like, the things that my dad taught us, like with hell and everything, like I knew that wasn't true. I knew that wasn't true. I knew that God was nothing but love, and that's it. That's all. Like, it's just love. And then after becoming a parent myself, that knowing just set in even deeper. So that's just a bit of background, because it does make a difference when in regards to my kundalini awakening. So around 2016, 2017 Sagittarius season, so November to December, this was right after I had lost my home to a fire. It burnt in November 2015. That was kind of the kicking off point for my whole world, like going, spiraling out of control. So in 2016, 2017, I was living with my mother. And one thing, I've always been drawn to the stars, especially Orion's belt, especially that one particular constellation was it called me. It called to me somewhere deep inside my core. So I used to, like, get on my mom's roof, and I would just lay out on the roof or sit there and listen to music and watch the stars. And that particular time frame, that November, December 2017, I was out on the rooftop and I was praying, because I had hit a point where I felt like I had nothing. I had no one. Um, Everything was just changing so quickly in my life, and I was losing everything, like relationships, material possessions, anything and everything that a person would hold dear to them. Um, it 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 was like it was just dwindling out of my field. So I'm up on the rooftop and I'm praying, and I remember reaching my hands to the sky, praying and saying, Spirit, I need to feel something. I need to feel something, because right now I don't feel anything, and I'm about to lose it all. I can't take this anymore. I don't know what is going on. I know there's something bigger than me, and I know that whatever it is, it loves me, but I don't feel it right now. And I have always felt that love. I had always felt that guidance and that protection and that nurturing. And in that moment, for since the fire, I didn't feel it anymore. I was completely, like, felt alone. And I'm standing there on the roof, and I feel these waves of energy not only go up my body, but down my body And it felt like this bubble of the most euphoric, orgasmic, um, I can't, like, the feeling just encapsulated me and engulfed and swallowed me. And it felt so good. I had tried, like, I had done drugs, I had done things there. I had never experienced a high like that. I had never felt something so magical, so euphoric, so just amazing. Like, there are not words to explain it, but it felt like this ball was just engulfing my whole body, and I could feel these waves all around me, around the outside of my body and inside of me. Like, it was just all of these different waves. um I had never felt anything like that in my entire life, but I also did not understand at all what was happening to me. So it scared me. Um, Even though it felt so amazing, I panicked. I panicked about what was happening. And instead of falling into that, I ran. So the moment that I could move my body, I ran back in my mom's house. And um, I went and hid in my room, not understanding what was going on. And I was just so scared. And so I literally just sat there like, what the fuck happened? Like, what was that? Um, Eventually that evening, I was able to get myself to sleep after, my mind just racing, like, what just happened to me? What is going on? Um, the next day when I got up and moving forward, I felt different. I had always been different, but the what I now understand is my clairs really burst open in that moment. I didn't understand that it was a kundalini awakening. I didn't understand that, you know, that that the spiritual gifts that I had had since I was so little, that I was born with, were basically on that point on fire. Like, everything, every door that was even so much as cracked just went choom and flew open. So, I mean, I perceived it as something negative. I perceived that experience on the rooftop as something bad or evil. So the days and months and years that followed, um, I was extremely opened up. My clairsentient abilities, like, I could literally feel everybody's emotional states around me as if they were my own. I could feel people's intentions towards me. I could feel if they were judging me. I could feel the frustration with me. I could feel the anger towards me. I could feel the resentment. I could feel every single emotion that anyone and everybody that crossed my path. I knew exactly, what was going on with them, and then also the way they were perceiving me, um, which I did not understand at all. At that time, I really just thought, you know, I'm angry. I thought I was angry. I thought I was sad. I thought I was all of these feelings, that everybody else, was either harboring on their own or towards me. My claircognizance cognizance, I can't ever say that word, I'm sorry, my inner knowing basically was blown wide open. um I knew things before they happened. I would make predictions, about people or about situations, and that particular person would see a doctor later, and exactly what I said was going on was exactly what was going on. And not understanding, like, how do I know these things? Like, it none of it made sense to me, which only pushed me further into like this feeling so different and feeling so alone because nobody else around me understood or got it. Nobody else, really, honestly, nobody else even wanted me around. Nobody, I was definitely the outcast. I was definitely the one in the family that really nobody ever wanted to deal with. Um, so, and I felt that, which made me fall way more into feeling sorry for myself. My clairvoyant abilities started kicking in really heavily. I could see things that others couldn't see. Um, I could see spirits. I could see things lurking in the shadows. I could see, feel presence around, things of that nature. And because of the way I was raised, I honestly, I thought it was like evil. I thought it was the devil. I thought there were demons after me. I thought, all of those negative things were basically the devil coming after me at that point. Um, so after the house burnt, I had started dibbling and dabbling in different drugs. And after that kundalini awakening, with everything that was going on, I literally just completely fell into that world. I completely surrendered myself into the most horrible, horrible experiences. A lot of it, the drugs and everything, was trying to numb myself out, to not feel my emotions, to not feel the heartbreak, um, not feel everybody else's shit, and not feel the way they were feeling towards me. And to kind of, I was trying to lose that inner knowing and lose all of these abilities that now I am so grateful for. At the time, not understanding it, it messed me up really bad. I experienced sleep paralysis. Um, Several times I would wake up at night and I couldn't move my body. I was, it was like my mind was awake, but I had zero control over my physical body. I couldn't even open my eyes. Like, I was aware, I was aware of my body laying there, and I was aware, of the room I was in and the things around, but I I remember one time in particular, I was laying in the bed and I was looking around this room and I couldn't move my body, and I wanted to move, like, and it started freaking me out. Like, so I, in my mind, I'm telling my brain is like screaming, I'm screaming, my consciousness was screaming at my body, move, move, move your legs, move. And with every bit of strength I had, I was trying to move, and for a good couple minutes, I couldn't get myself to move. until eventually one of my legs kicked, and I just so happened to boot my dog off of the bed. But once I got the one leg kicked, I started moving the rest of my body, and I come up out of the bed and everything. With the combination of my spiritual abilities and, you know, dealing with sleep paralysis and things of that nature, I really thought I was just losing my mind, and I felt so utterly alone. I felt so alone and afraid and did not understand what was going on. Especially after the sleep paralysis, I started um, doing more of the drugs that would keep me awake, because by that point, I was so afraid to go to sleep. I was afraid like demons or the devil was trying to get me at night. I was afraid, I didn't want to feel or face any of my emotions, any of the hurt that had accumulated up into that point. You know, whether it's the fire, finding out my mom was sleeping with the guy I had been with for 9 years, my mother sitting me down and telling me that I was a nuisance and a burden to the family. I mean, the most horrific things. My brothers that I loved so very much turning away from me. My dad was always kind of fighting his own inner demons, so he was kind of in and out. Whether he was having relapses himself and falling off the wheel. So it literally just felt like I was alone, so alone. And I didn't understand what was happening to me. I didn't understand, and I thought everything was evil. I thought it was the devil. I didn't know anything about spirituality. I didn't know that all of these other things were possible or existed. And so it took me down this really dark path. I apologize. I'm sorry. It took me down a really, really dark, dark path for a very, very long time of a lot of drug use and fighting, feeling like I was fighting the world. And I did that from about 2017 to about 2021. I spent that time really deep in a hell on earth. My downward spiral pushed me into isolation. I became very, very afraid of everybody. Between the drug use and um, having those spiritual gifts and abilities on top of that, uh, it it pushed me into a perspective of being absolutely terrified of people. Where I had once been that girl that just wanted to save the world and take everybody in and, I opened my home to anyone and everybody that needed a meal, needed a roof over their head, to literally complete isolation, um, away from everybody and everything. Part of me fighting to maintain my sanity, um, and part of me just wanting to completely just say fuck it all and take my own life. I definitely tried a couple times along the way. Um, and from a nursing standpoint, I don't 100% understand why I'm here. From a spiritual point, I I definitely know it wasn't my time at that point. I'm sorry. I'm trying to regain my composure and continue. In that time frame between 2017, 2021, give or take, um, I was doing my best to try to be a mother to my kids, to work, to maintain some level of sanity, while also I had at that point developed drug addictions, um, and literally just it was like a constant battle within myself of just wanting to run away and bury myself in the drug world, and the other side of me wanting to pull myself out of it because I absolutely loved my children so much, and I knew what I was doing to them, because it was the same thing that happened, you know, with the drug use. It was I had experienced that, myself growing up. So whew, that those years were very, very rough for me. They were, um, very dark and lonely, and part of it was self-induced, and part of it was, not really having a support structure, a support system or structure. Um, really just being the black sheep of the family. Um, never really, measuring up to their standards of what I should have been, and really just not knowing what to do with all of it. So those years were pretty rough. But in April of 2022, I moved away. I moved far enough away, like 4 or 5 hours away from my hometown, um, into a completely different atmosphere, um, where nobody knew me and I could literally start over. Um, my intentionality behind that initially was coming to, be with a boy, and, um, trying my damnedest not to give up on love, and the understanding that there was somebody out there for me, the right somebody out there for me. So when I moved and my now husband and I first initially, started talking and everything, he could very clearly see that I was a train wreck. Um, and he gave me a book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. And I started reading that book, and it changed everything for me. When I first moved here, I initially, like the first year or so, I sat in a bedroom apartment and finally in my life started noticing the signs and synchronicities that the universe was sending me. Um, and it was different, like different spiritual teachers. It was, um, you know, Eckhart Tolle, Aaron Apke, Dolores Cannon, Joe Dispenza, Aaron Dowdy, Shaman Durek, Aaron Lyons, many different tarot readers, because I do love my tarot. um, Deepak Chopra, many different channelers. And I sat in that room and started learning about healing and about spirituality and about spiritual gifts and all the different clairs, and what what they all mean, what they all do, how to know, and decipher, like my own energy from yours, or others out there, how to protect my energy, how to, put up these fields around myself, basically, because I am an empath, and I have a tendency to, I've in the past especially taken on other people's shit as my own, and it created a lot of disturbances and issues in my life. So I just absolutely buried myself in learning and studying and absorbing and studying other cultures all around the world and their different gods and and goddesses and mythologies and um, different cultural beliefs and styles and mannerisms, and just, I mean, completely consumed myself in that life. I just completely fell into it because for the first time in my life something made sense. Something I felt that utter, that connection, that understanding, the deepness within myself, the abilities that I had, and what I had experienced on that rooftop, and it all made sense all of a sudden, and I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful that I made it out and that I'm here today and that I can talk to you and tell you that if I can get away from all of those things, if I can make it out, you can too. You can heal too, and that you're worth it. That we are all so beautiful and magical and magnificent, and I just want to scream it to the world because it's so beautiful to me at this point. And I'm grateful for the family that my soul chose for me, and all of the shit that we went through, and the experiences, and I'm grateful for them, and I love each and every one of them so very unconditionally, more now than ever, because it made me who I am. It brought me to this place of understanding, the joy that I felt, in finding myself again and understanding myself. There are no words to explain that, I'm just checking over my notes so I don't forget anything. So yeah, I moved away, went into the apartment and just buried myself in learning as much as I possibly can so that I can share that knowledge and that information and that wisdom with you. Um, different meditation practices, different ways, breath work, accountability is so important and so big, because even when we don't want to see the ways that we hurt others, we do. We definitely do. And I never made it easy on any of my family. I am in by no means just a victim of circumstances. I do not claim that whatsoever. Bad things happen to everybody. I definitely didn't make it easy on any of them at any given point. So I accept responsibility for my fair share of it. And that accountability has made a lot of difference in my life too. Let me tell you, it definitely frustrates me when others are like, "But he, but she." I'm like, "No, but what about you?" So, anywho, um, I definitely started diving into my spiritual gifts more. And I'm so grateful for them now at this point. Learning myself and what I'm capable of, and pushing it to the next limit, and further and further and further every time. Um, it's been such an amazing journey. And it's not over. I'm still very much so in this. I'm still learning, and I will continue to and evolve and grow and become more and more and more and more. And that is my joy, is life, is living it, is doing the damn thing. It's quite amazing to get to that point of looking forward to each and every day, to being grateful to for the sun shining in my eyes in the morning. You know, when there was such a long period of my life that I hated it and was so angry about it. You know, just the sun shining, like the level of low. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't even make sense. But at the time it did. It made perfect sense. Um, so yeah, I'm growing more deeply into myself, my abilities, and learning and growing and exploring more and sharing that with you. And I hope that somewhere you're able to find something that helps you. I hope one of these videos brings you something to heal or fix, or learn how to take on um, an issue that you may have, and heal it, because you're worth it, you know. And we can't fix anything outside of ourselves. I, I will always say one of my favorite songs, and merely for the lyrics, it is Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. I'm starting with a man in the mirror. I'm facing myself. That's what we have to do. So this is my testimony. This is my first initial experience with a spontaneous kundalini awakening. And what can happen is we perceive it as being a fearful thing. Um, when people don't understand what it is, or what's happening, what's going on, and it becomes a very fear-based initiation progress, you know, initiation program, process, whatever, um, it definitely can take you down a really dark path. And that's at the end of the day why I look at everybody so lovingly, is because we don't know what somebody else is going through, you know. And sometimes having compassion for another human being makes all the difference in the world. And it can be the thing that saves their life, saves our life, vicariously. This is why I find such joy and love in healing and helping others heal, because I've literally walked through hell and came out on the other side. And I intend to grow and learn more and share that right here with you each and every day that I can, because you're just as worthy as anybody else in this world, as anything else in this world, this universe. You are a beautiful part of the divine, of God, and you are loved, and I love you. I appreciate you making it this far with me. If you did, golly. Um, yeah, if you've stuck around this long, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. If you know somebody that may need to hear any part of this, anything that might be encouraging or helpful to somebody else, please share. Um, if you're going through something and you don't have anybody to speak to or talk to, reach out. Whether it's to me, whether it's to somebody else, a therapist, whatever, you're never completely alone. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like that. So I'm here, and I love you, and I want you to know that. Until next time, please like, share, comment. If you've been through anything like this, if you have any type of similarity to this, let me know. Let me know your experiences with Kundalini awakening, spontaneous Kundalini awakening. Yeah, it's been a long video. It's time to go, guys. I love you. Until next time. Bye.